Right, okay. So, want to talk about something that I'm quite interested in. I use it daily. So, we do a lot of business to business. We do have a lot of things where we help businesses to consumer, so they're obviously selling to Joe Public. But we do a lot where businesses are selling to other businesses. And one of the tools and social media channels that they use the most is LinkedIn. And we're on LinkedIn pretty much every day. And I wanted to talk about the do's and don'ts of LinkedIn. So I wanted to get the things that are good and, you know, some techniques and tips that you've probably used in LinkedIn or even seen getting used. I can share my ones. And also the don'ts as well. Some of the things that you think, oh, that was a wee bit cringy, or so that you can share for the audience so that they know the best way to use LinkedIn and get some tips and improve the way that you use it. So what have you seen with LinkedIn? What have you...
So I'm quite interested in LinkedIn. I would say LinkedIn's probably the main channel for me to promote my business, and it's also the one I'm most interested in how people are leveraging, particularly for the reason you said, business to business. That's where the businesses are. We put things in Facebook, we engage with other ones, but I think you almost have to pick the social media channel that's right for you, and likewise, how often can you commit to doing it consistently. The things that I've seen in LinkedIn that I particularly like are they're using the carousels much more, so they're using much more of the native features of the platform. Mm-hmm. So you see much more video content, which is good because it makes it more engaging, more fun. I'm also starting to see a little bit of the kind of LinkedIn marketplace skew towards probably closer to how Facebook is used traditionally, and a lot of people kind of been up in arms somewhat about that, as if there's like a fiefdom. Don't do that on here, that's for Facebook. And I'm like, sorry, who made you the LinkedIn police? That's not directed at me, but I'm thinking that going, is it right for them to say that? Like, if Donna wants to post that she's went out to, I don't know, mini golf with her kids, I'm okay with that. And I actually quite like when people share some of their kind of personality on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
The prime example I would put of it is Davey Hutton. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm absolutely obsessed by his videos. Every time he posts something, I'm like, this is going to be hilarious. I'm like, get my coffee, sit down, right, hit play, and most of the time I'm thinking that's another like absolute belter. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And it draws me in, right? So I get it. He's an estate agent, and that's what he does. But I know about him. I know his brand. Now, originally I knew him because of the radio, but actually how he uses LinkedIn is like that. So although he could do that purely as YouTube, which is a video platform, or Vimeo or something like that, he's decided to kind of like fully embrace LinkedIn but make it video content. And I'm trying to work out for the life of me if he actually keeps a frequency. I don't think he does. I think it's more flexible than that. Although he does have a camera team, so then I'm thinking maybe it's like orchestrated non-sequence, if that makes sense, in the sense of it's not every Friday. It's like kind of there's 4 videos and we'll roughly put them out maybe it's like 10 days apart or some other kind of metric he's using. But yeah, I love seeing video on LinkedIn, and I think the carousel thing, I seen you done it the other day actually, and I was like, oh, that's so good. It is so good. It does take time, like what about yourself? What are you seeing on LinkedIn and you're thinking that's spot on? I like that.
I think video is a big part of it. I love video. I get sucked into video a little bit more. Basically watching something, I can get the point. I can see the point, learn the point quicker. I also see the personality and get the kind of the relationships sort of stuff over from it. I see a lot of good things. Hashtags is a big thing that use in social media. So hashtags are really, really important. So if you're in like marketing, I think a lot of people don't really understand. People outside marketing don't really understand the power of hashtags, and they just hashtag anything. So hashtag podcast with John.
It's probably me. I'll probably do that. So I use it as a keywords, but that's wrong then. You want to get research the hashtags first. So you want to be using hashtags that people use and talk around. So it's very similar to search engine optimization, where you're like getting found in Google. So you can get found in Google, there's a specific keyword that people search for or are interested in. So you try and build your website page for that. For that keyword.
So you should also be doing the thing on social media. People are interested around podcast or business growth or marketing.
And I'll ask for the listener, but also for myself.
Yeah.
Is there a tool for that where we can see what
There's,
hashtags?
yeah,
or
there's
what
like
there is?
there's a free tool called All Hashtags, but also use the platform. A lot of people go out elsewhere and don't actually use the platform. So actually search the platform for the hashtags. You've got a search box. You just search and you see what the chat is.
Yeah.
You can actually follow a hashtag, and this is also a good thing as well. So if you follow a hashtag about business growth or a software companies or something, or somebody looking for leads, you will then start getting a feed of all these hashtags.
Yep.
And also what will happen is the more content you produce, it's going to get shown to these people that are a community, because what they're trying to do is LinkedIn with a hashtag, they're essentially trying to build a mini community or a micro community. So if we're interested in marketing, they're going to bring us, LinkedIn are going to try and bring us together because it's a network. They're trying to get us to go, oh right, he's in marketing, he's in Glasgow, he's in Glasgow, he likes podcasts, wait a minute, these might like each other. So even though they're not connected, we're going to start showing John's feed. That's what the algorithm does. So John's feed, and Mark goes, there's John, that's funny, he's interested in marketing podcast, keep on seeing his stuff. And that's when you go, actually I'm going to connect with them. That's why you sit and see people that viewed your profile, all that type of stuff. And so good use of hashtags. Now one of the tips I would say, hashtags are very different across every single platform, but this is specifically for LinkedIn. LinkedIn don't want you to go over 5 hashtags, right? So 5 hashtags is the absolute maximum for LinkedIn. But the magic number is 3, so you kind of go for the 3 hashtags. Now this could change tomorrow if they want to change their algorithm, but that's what they want just now. So go for about 3 hashtags, because what you see is.
Would you say that would be every post, Mark, or just certain posts?
I would do it with every post, and make it relevant to your post. So if you're going to talk about carousels, then you do the hashtags with about carousels. If you're going to talk about video, you do hashtags that are related to video. If you're going to talk about business growth, so make it very relevant to what that post is about, because people, that's the best way to not get engagement, as you go like that, hey, talk about video marketing, business growth, and it's got nothing to do with it, and it's very quick for the algorithm to go, well, I'm not going to show that anymore, and you will see it in your analytics of, I did that post and I never got that much engagement, or that many people viewing it either. So utilise that as well. Utilise various content. It lets you basically post as much kind of content as you want. So you've got LinkedIn Stories, which gives you a 20-second, quick,
like a burst,
quick video story. You can actually upload your native video. You can actually upload articles. You can actually upload your blog article for people to see. You can actually do kind of short form posts, upload, as you said, carousel with images, all that type of stuff. So use varied content. So obviously you want to have a content plan with LinkedIn, and use various content. So I think that's what I kind of like to see with a lot of people, is when they are using sort of varied content, so it's not all video. So you see there's video, there's a bit of text, there's a bit of something else.
I probably get guilty of that myself, in the sense of we've almost went entirely video with what we're doing. But I use LinkedIn very differently to the majority of people that I see using it. Yep. So a lot of companies, they sort of promote themselves, and they look at it more as this is an outlet, like a channel, in the sense of I'll post something on Twitter, I'll post something on LinkedIn, I'll post something on Instagram. Right, that's me done my social because I've posted something. Yeah. Whereas I'm much more interested in the kind of mimicking the networking style relationship through the tool. Yeah. So I was talking to people, again, we'll keep them nameless, but I got some feedback on my stuff, and they were kind of saying, it surprises me that you're putting out videos about public speaking rather than focusing on, say, web design, e-learning, e-commerce. And I was like, that's interesting, so why does that surprise you? And they're like, well, surely that's got nothing to do with hybrid anchor. You don't do presentation, you're not a presentation coach, that kind of way. And I was like, yeah, okay, that's interesting. And it's feedback's a gift, right? I mean, people say something to you, you think, yeah, I should probably think about that. But from my perspective, I was following the sort of jab, right hook, in the sense of, I'm going to give the very best content I can give, regardless of what area it's in. But I'm going to try and help people. And then by doing that, I'll build more of an audience where people can kind of engage. So I put out that public speaking thing, right? What I found was quite funny is, even from the initial couple of months of video that we'd put out, I'd actually secured a speaking gig. Now at the speaking gig, when I talk about what my business does, that will probably result in sales. So it's like a kind of 2-step to get to the audience that are more relevant to that. would that have been given to me if I hadn't spoke about public speaking?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of the rub, in the sense of, well, hold on, why are we doing what we're doing?
Yeah.
Because I'm not really super interested in likes and comments and shares and things like that, but I am interested in people are getting value from what they see.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm reading the comments and somebody goes, great post, mate, versus this was really, really inspiring, and I suffer from anxiety when I give a public talk, and I think this is a really actionable tip. I could see myself using that. That means a lot more to me than the sort of like, thumbs up, mate, seems okay.
And that's it's exactly what you're doing is right, is you're providing content that's valuable. And that's what a lot of people don't do. A lot of people, if they go on this, they sell,
it's very much about what they do. Or, see, I think I probably don't do enough selling though with it as well. I think I probably need to strike a balance in the sense of promoting some of the stuff that I do. But it's very hard for me to do that because I don't want to be seen as someone that's taken from an audience rather than given.
There's different ratios with content. So there's the magic rule of thirds. So you do like a third, value, a third about other people, and a third selling. But then there's other one. It's like a golden ratio. I think it's 60-40 and something 20, something like 60-40-20, but only 20% selling. So it depends on what
it's probably more impactful, isn't it, if you keep it to a limit?
You do have to ask for business at a point. You're given a lot of value. There's a point where you actually have to go,
we can do this for you.
We can do this, but there's ways and means to do it. Case studies, this is what we've done. Do you want?
Hi, do you have a need like such and such?
Do you got a need like that? So there's different ways to do it and use that different content with that as well. So bad things you've seen on LinkedIn, the don'ts. Where to start? Where to start?
So I think not just in LinkedIn, in business in general, people need to kind of drop the idea of tribalism. This idea that like religions, colours, creeds, politics. So Scotland's quite an interesting place, and it has been for quite a few years now. We've had quite a lot of traumatic events, shall we say. So we had the referendum, and regardless of where people stand on it, it polarised and split society. People took it to LinkedIn, they took it to other social media channels. Then we had Brexit, and it had a similar effect. Then we have anti-vax and vax. Then we have COVID's a conspiracy, not a conspiracy. We have the whole, Rangers have wrecked George Square, and we've had all the other stuff that goes with it. I don't like seeing fiefdoms on social media. It's probably one of the only things that I really don't like seeing, because I think, why would you associate that with your business? So you're a professional business owner, I'm a professional business owner. Do you really care what it is I vote for or what my kind of political view is? No, probably not. And whether you do or whether you don't, it's nothing to do with me. So I think certain things should really just be kept private, and that person's space should just be respected for that. But there's been a kind of heavy tone of that going through all social media networks recently. And I think there's a reason why I don't use Twitter anymore, and it's because Twitter almost became 100% that, at least in my feed. So the people that I engage with, that's all I've seen. And I've not used Twitter now for probably about 10 years, like anywhere between 8 and 10 years. Maybe the occasional tweet just to kind of see what it is, but I'm not engaged in it, I don't check it, I'm not really interested in it, it's not where I get my kind of information from. Whereas I think LinkedIn has kind of retained that much more professional sort of like, it is a business network, so therefore there's a kind of higher level of kind of like quality to what people post about. But I've not liked seeing that. I think that's a particularly bad thing to associate a company with, because people don't realise that, but that polarises so much of your audience. Like, people will not buy for you just because you have a certain view. And it doesn't matter what side that you're on. It's like they're going to do it anyway.
There's so, I mean, that's probably one of the don'ts as well. Trolls, social media trolls. Would they say this to you face to face? If they were in the same room as you just now and you were talking about, I don't know, SNP or Nicola Sturgeon or something like that, and they go, would they be right in your face? They probably wouldn't. But when they become a keyboard warrior, they go like that.
Sitting at the other side.
Well, if you like Nicola Sturgeon, I will tell you I hate Nicola Sturgeon. And it becomes a big bit of a fight, with each other.
I have a Barney on LinkedIn. And
it's like that's, you've got to think of your reputation. This is a business network, and you're having a Barney and with somebody else about politics, about something that's not related to your business. It's just going to, people are going to automatically go, well, I'm not going to do business with him.
Of course, because the other thing you need to think about is not just that they don't agree with you, but they don't want to be associated with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard a story quite recently, and it's quite a personal story that they shared. And what they were saying was the person had shared an extreme comment, right? So it was like quite a shocking comment, something that you wouldn't really say in a professional context. But because of it, what happened is people took to LinkedIn, found out where the person worked, and said, "Are you happy that someone in your organisation has made this comment?" That person got fired and lost their bonus and lost a substantial salary, a very senior person. And it was because they shared a comment on one of the social media platforms. And it was just a flippant comment. I don't think that the comment was really acceptable, to be honest with you. But there is a culture of this now where people will follow you to where you live, where you work, and they will bring that in. Like, oh, do you realise that, Frank or Debbie was out in the sauce last night and posted pictures of them a wee bit kind of that kind of way, and you're thinking, you probably do it yourself. I know I do it with interviews, and you look through the person's social media because it gives you a read for the person, like how they carry themselves. Because if you bring in somebody and the guy's like, borderline a neo-Nazi or some kind of majorly extreme view, and you're thinking, right, well, I've just picked him out the pot. I've just said, right, you're good enough to come and work a hybrid anchor. And then people go, is that the kind of people John hires? Is that who Mark hires? And you're going, well, I didn't know that. And they're like, well, it's right there for you to see. Or they maybe like your business post and you follow back and you go, oh, how do I bring this up? Because it's not really to do with work, but it is as well. Because I've actually found that where there's an agency in Glasgow and their staff member posted about quite a famous drinks brand. Right, they'll leave the brands out of it, so we're not telegraphing who it is, but they posted about quite a famous drinks brand, and they'd done like a kind of wee craft, like a wee project themselves. But that drinks brand reached out to the company and said, oh, I've seen you doing such and such, could you do that for us? To the agency, because they've said, you've got this creative talent that's came up with this idea, they work for you, Mark, we'd like to kind of get you on board. And it was a huge client, so they must have been like, oh, wish all my staff were creative in the weekends. But I think it's like work and play are interconnected that way. So it's like you can't have extreme views and expect it not to come back to you.
I think that's as well, I've seen is bringing that kind of, I think it's the personal type of content. I think there's good personal content that's related to the business. So again, I talked about a good few podcasts before, personal thing, learning from money issues and stuff like that, which is obviously personal content to me. It's not in a business release, but it's business connected. But there is type of content that you go, we don't really care about what you do at night and going out drinking and having a laugh doing this, or it's just certain things that are just not related to business. And then your head and shoulder photograph, I've seen some mad head and shoulder photographs as a business.
The wedding's a favourite one. I wore a kilt on my wedding, I was looking smart. And you're like, I get it, but at the same time, you don't wear a kilt when you meet me. You've not got like a big ruche and a flower,
I think it's a Saturday night, at the club dancing. Somebody's taking a picture of me, sitting there just sipping a drink. I think that's the ones that I'm kind of getting to, because it's like, this is a bit like, this is not related to the business at all.
So I know a company that does probably about 6 figures per year, high 6 figures, nearly 7 figures, right? CEO of the company, and I checked him out, going to connect to him and stuff like that, and there's like literally pictures of him drinking Buckfast on a golf course, lying in a sand bunker with his pals, and I'm thinking, not what I expected to see from the CEO of the company. I was like, maybe a bit of a filter, maybe, but they must disassociate those accounts from what they do as their business. So to me, that's when people look at social media as just sharing random pictures rather than actually that's became a huge way of how we do business. The other bad habit, I think, it's a pet peeve of mine, is automation to a fault, where it's like the person's not manning their account. So I'm okay if you do it and you have like a kind of script and a message and a step process because you want to keep yourself right. I'd rather you were a bit more genuine and just organic and just let the conversation flow. Like, show you're interested, have a chat naturally, but to actually automate your entire LinkedIn, so I connect with you, it sends me an automated message, I message you back, it might even be referring your business, so the natural follow-up to that would be, thanks very much, Mark, I'll reach out to them just now and I'll let you know how I got on. Appreciate it, mate. We need to catch up and get a coffee sometime. That's a natural response. But if you get like a canned message and you're thinking, right, I've never actually spoke to John as a human being on this platform once, and then I see them kind of coming onto my videos and liking it, and I've seen this where it must be a feature or a tool, and it kind of says like a great video, really insightful, and
great
it's just
info,
like it's the same thing,
and everybody's talking
over and over and over again. So it does a different one for videos and a different one for text posts, and it does it every time. And I'm like, I can understand that engagement drives like kind of like counter engagement and bringing people back in, but to a certain point it's flawed, and it's just that automation thing really bugs me. And the other one is kind of like right for the sort of you want to go home with me sort of thing, you know, like here I'm selling in the comments like straight away, and you're thinking, mate, you don't even know who we are, anything about us. That's not how I network, and it's not how I want to use LinkedIn. I'd be much more interested if they said, you know, I'd love to kind of get to know your business and see how we could help each other. Just open that up, and then if the person's interested, they'll say, yeah, sure, I'm up for that, or to be honest, I'm not interested in that.
Because that's it, it's a networking channel, and you're getting to see somebody's personality. Now if they're using a tool wrong, and it's like great info, great video, you know, great comment, and you can see that across, you know that's not their personality. You know they don't actually.
Well, it takes away from it. It's not genuine anymore. So you're like, I don't even see that as like a like or a comment anymore.
Absolutely. And then somebody just jumping in with a sell, so like, let's build a relationship. I'm only going to buy from you because we've built a relationship. I trust you. I think that you can do the job. You think I can do the job. Don't just jump in with the sales straight away. I mean that's one of the things as well, is they don't just read everything that you hear. So I see a lot of people taking the wrong advice, and they're picking up on things, and they're saying, oh, do this, or we'll take this type of LinkedIn strategy with it, and it's just because they've read something or somebody else is doing it. I remember when it was a Lion. Do you ever see that one? Like John Loudon, Lion. He's a LinkedIn online networker. So everybody had Lion at the end of their name, and it was just because if I seen Lion, then we could do online networking. But it just looked stupid. It just looked like.
So what's this, like an insignia thing at the end?
At the end of your name. So you go John Loudon. At the end of your name, you would put Lion, Lion, and it would mean.
I missed that.
That was when everybody was doing it.
That's mad.
And it just looked stupid. And you just like I was like that. No, at no time did LinkedIn say that was actually, you know, a strategy to use. I see ones where they do the massive long form posts that are so long, and it's like a massive story, and then they're
sentence. That's definitely something somebody's read, because I've seen loads of that kind of thing.
And again, it's not really fitted in with the kind of LinkedIn algorithm or anything like that as well. And I think the do from that is look at what LinkedIn do. Nobody actually researches what does the platform do. How do they post? How do they post their content? Go down their feed and then actually see, they're doing the video, and this is how they do the video, and they do a native video like this, or they, you know, how many hashtags they're using for that, and why is that hashtag related to that? Look at the platform. That's not just on LinkedIn. That's in every single platform. That's the best way to start learning what kind of content's going to work, because if they're doing it in their own platform, then you should be doing it and mimic it with that as well.
So Chris Doe's fantastic at that, so he kind of makes a really great observation, and psychologically it kind of just makes sense, you know, that way when you rationalise something to yourself and you go, of course the platform would do that. So platforms don't want you to take them away from their audience, so they're not going to like linking away to YouTube, which is why native video is better. They're going to want you to enrich their platform and use their features, so therefore people that adopt carousels or the new features as and when they come out, they're the ones that are going to do better anyway. But I have seen like a few kind of strategies where what I like to do is when I see something I think is clever, I like to try and like re-engineer it as like a sort of commercial or a business sort of focus. So I had someone on LinkedIn send me a video message through LinkedIn, like in the chat, and I'm thinking, so how did they do that? So I'm looking at the options in the desktop and they're not there, and I'm thinking, well, maybe it's a mobile only feature. I jump on mobile, so then I'm having a laugh and I'm like kind of, hi Mark, haha, sorry, I was trying to work out there how I actually send you a video back. This is genius, love this. So yeah, I'd love to kind of meet for a coffee, that sounds really good. But then in my head I'm thinking, right, there's another weapon, there's another string to the bow sort of thing. Because it's a strategy. And anything that you do that's unusual is going to make you stand out. Because like carousels and stuff, they're kind of done to death, videos done to death, that kind of way. And it's a shame, like in a way I wish there was some way I could post my longer format videos to LinkedIn natively, but they don't support like kind of long format video. So then I'm like, did I do a trailer? Did I do an image? Did I do an image with a play icon? So it's like, it's frustrating that it's not clickable, but the link's in the thing. But then you're getting marked down because there's a link taking you away from the platform. But when the platform doesn't natively make it a feature, then you don't really have much choice.
To do it.
They'll just say, well, that's not the way we do content. We want it done this way. And I get it. I do get it. But I do like the idea of like sharing that content because it's valuable,
Yeah. What type of tools have you used? Any? I know we talked about automation, but is there any types of tools, or have you even used like LinkedIn Sales Navigator? Or
I've had a shot of Sales Navigator. As I say, I use LinkedIn in a really unusual way, Mark. I kind of ripped a strategy off of Twitter. I used to do searches for like booleans, basically like a search for specific asks. So you'll get people that will ask for something like, can anyone recommend a good web designer, or I need a graphic designer, or I need help with a graphic, or help with a video, whatever it is. And then I would run a search, but then I noticed that actually works natively across many of the platforms. So I run searches and things like that through it. So I found that method for me has worked quite well because it's taken me closer to prospective clients very quickly. Sales Navigator I've used. I've also done a blend of like, what would you call it? It's probably banned, so I don't know if I'm even allowed to say it, but we'll say it anyway, why not? I've also used it for scraping in the sense of like establishing where a person works, or work history, rhetoric for sales. So like if I talk to you and I know you worked at Scottish Rail and I know people that work at Scottish Rail, or I can see you're into such and such a group, I've used that as a kind of like it's a way of telegraphing like where your bias is, and it helps me in a sort of networking scenario to kind of like know more about who it is I'm speaking to. But automation tools wise, we did use one. I'm trying to think of the tool that we were using for it. I can't remember the actual scheduling tool's name. But what I found is it was weird. One of the things we posted came up in like French or something like that, and it was like the scheduling tool obviously couldn't make sense of the URL. And I was like, hey, how did that happen? So scheduling like kind of backfired that way. And I thought there's maybe some better tools, or like kind of things that scheduling's maybe not geared towards doing.
There's obviously a lot of tools. So you've got your old social media management tools like Hootsuite.
Hootsuite was the one we were using. That's the one we used.
They can push the content out to multiple channels. I think that can get tricky as well, because what people do is get lazy and they don't post the content like for the channel. So sometimes posting natively is good because you post the same thing. So it can be good. It can save time. We use Sales Navigator a lot with clients. It's very powerful. These days, obviously that's how they're going to start making money, because you pay for Sales Navigator. You talk about like lead scraping, right? So just recently, one of my clients has just done there. They've taken a list that they've managed to get, like a membership list. They uploaded it to Sales Navigator, and then Sales Navigator say, right, okay, so Hybrid Anchor, they've got John there and you've got Anna who's there, so then you can then connect with them on it. So it's not like scraping. You can then do contacts with them. You've also got this smart links that you can do. So they let you build a link, and you can then send that link to them, but you can actually track them on that link. So you can say, right, they've viewed my website, they've been on it for this long. It's really, really powerful. So there's lots of things that you can do with LinkedIn Sales Navigator. We also use automation tools as well. So something like, we don't do automated with the comments and stuff. We do automation. We're trying to invite people. So we invite people, and it's automated in the right type of way. So you invite somebody, you give them a message, they come back to the message, then you then kind of come in manually, or you have another automation. A couple of tools that we use for that is like Linked Helper and Connected. So these are off tools. So these are tools off LinkedIn that you can use, that you can link up with it. Again, clients using that, absolutely brilliant. So you're essentially connecting with more people, and getting more connections, building the network. You can also get them to invite them to groups and build your group as well. So sometimes using these type of tools, save you a lot of time, but you need to use them in the right way.
So this has come to the end of the episode, Mark. Paint me a picture. So give me one positive that you would want people to do more of in LinkedIn, and one thing that you would want them to stop doing.
I would love it if they used the hashtags properly. I want to see the death of poor hashtags. No more, please.
So I suppose a positive and a negative. That's a good one. So I'll give mine as I'll use the hashtags for you going forward. Sorry, Mark. That kind of way. Alright, so that brings us to the end of another episode. Thanks very much for tuning into Business Belters. As we say in this start, middle and end of every show, it's all about you guys that are watching and listening along. We want to make sure we're giving you value. So if there is topics you want us to talk about, you want to pick me and Mark's brain, take advantage of it. It's an asset at the end of the day. We love making content about stuff that you guys are interested in, because we look at it and you say, do you know what, that is actually a belter. That'd be a brilliant topic to bring up on the show. Just want to say a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from him. Thank you.
Catch you next week, guys.